Today, we become legends.
So Chel's full kit has been revealed and will be dropping on PTS tomorrow and to the live client next Tuesday. She looks really awesome and a super unique addition to the Mage roster with a balance of utility and damage as well as hitting allies and enemies. So without further ado, let's jump in with her passive. So the passive Rainbow Weaver will stack up to 6 times on hitting any god. This includes allies, enemies and herself. At 6 stacks, your next basic attack is wider, hits all enemies and has no movement penalty. It's basically a less powerful minor version of an ability every 6 stacks that can help with clear or poking in teamfights or just some extra damage in her kit rotation. You can gain multiple stacks per ability if you hit multiple gods, so this passive will activate relatively often, especially in teamfights, and will be a really nice way to get some extra damage throughout her kit. Moving on to her active abilities though, first up is the one Gleaming Blast. Chel fires a beam of light that passes through minions but stops at the first enemy god hit, dealing damage which is increased by 40% to minions and jungle camps. On hitting an enemy, god or minion, this ability changes into Threads of Light, which is a reverse cone targeter that is channeled for a short time, during which enemies facing you are blinded and it's then fired, damaging enemies in the path and dealing 30% bonus damage at the tip of the targeter. After you fire this alternate first ability, it will transform back into Gleaming Blast and go on cooldown. This is a pretty cool mechanic that's more similar to your Moja's alternate one, but a bit different since it's on a normal cooldown instead of Omi. The cooldown is 6 seconds base, which is going to lead to some crazy poking, and it will feel like she constantly has an ability up, since this is 2 casts every 6 seconds by itself. The damage on each ability is lower than your typical Mage ability to compensate, but in total it does 390 plus 95%, which is just slightly above average. Moving on to the 2 though, Lunar Invocation. This is a circular ground targeter that does damage and knocks up all enemies in the area while healing allies in the area too. This will of course be great for stacking up her passive since it will give stacks for allies and enemies hit, including herself. This could reliably give 3 stacks or more in teamfights per cast towards that amped up auto attack from the passive. This is also her main CC and will be good for setup to guarantee the hit on her one and allow her to follow up with the alternate one afterwards, or for self peel against melee gods. She can drop this on herself, get a heal and knock up. Rainbow Crash is Chel's 3, which sends out an arc of light towards the target location which damages and roots enemies and splits into smaller orbs of light. Chel gains bonus movement speed on cast and can pick up these orbs Camazotz style to gain additional movement speed. The orbs can also be picked up by allies. So this is her main way to gain movement since she doesn't have a traditional dash or jump to keep herself safe. She gains 20% speed on cast and more if she picks up the orbs, and that lasts 3 seconds. This also roots so it can be used to set up her 1 or her 2, which can lead to some nasty combos since the knockup on her 2 won't DR and will be full duration even after the root hits. So you can 3 into 2 into 1 pretty reliably for big guaranteed damage. And finally, Chel's ultimate Great End is a channeled line damage laser that damages enemies and heals allies every tick for 3 seconds. It ticks every 0.2 seconds, so the total hits is 15. Enemies take more damage from subsequent hits, and if Chel heals an ally with this, she also heals herself for the same amount. The heal is 2% missing health, so it's best used on allies that are low health or when Chel herself is low health to keep her alive, since as I mentioned, she doesn't have a traditional movement ability to keep her safe. Chel also gains 6 stacks of her passive immediately on cast, so she will always be able to throw out an immediate passive boosted basic attack after finishing the ult as a follow-up. So yeah, this is basically Anubis laser with no root but less damage and can heal allies too. So yeah, that's Chel's full kit overview. She looks super fun in my opinion, with a ton of synergy weaved into the kit, pun intended. The passive boosted basic attack is a really cool mechanic that will seemingly be active a lot since many of her abilities can target allies as well as enemies, and she gains stacks for both, as well as the ult giving 6 stacks for free. She seems to have a bit below average damage but major utility in her healing, decent CC and movement speed boosts. Balance wise, it's of course too early to say fully, but she seems pretty strong. The ult itself seems to hit ridiculously hard while also being able to heal. The one's damage is above average and split into 2 hits which can be used as needed, giving it some more utility. She has a guaranteed combo off of the root if the enemy doesn't immediately jump away, which is going to be nasty. But in terms of kit design, she looks amazing. Aggro design gods are always sick in my opinion, and I'm super excited to try her out. But what do you guys think of Chel? Does she look fun? Let me know down below and I'll catch you guys in another one later on. Have a great day, and peace out, you nerds.